Hey, what's going on, guys? It is Foxy19 here. Welcome back to a brand new episode of my F1 2019 career mode for you guys today here on the channel. So we're here for the Italian Grand Prix, and as you can see, having a look at the performance R&D charts, you can see how, look at that on the aerodynamic department. Renault are miles clear of anyone in the aero department, and they have made another upgrade coming into Italy. For myself, though, the likes of Haas and also Racing Point are now in front of me. Williams are catching up, and at the moment in the development chart, we're just doing really badly, and it's not working for us. But anyway, moving into qualifying then, and it was a wet start to proceedings, but if we come across the start-finish line, our first lap there was 0.8 of a second shy of Sebastian Vettel. I think I went out again for a second run, and I did so, and I was 0.7 up on this lap. Felt a lot more comfortable in the car, gave myself that first lap as a bit of a banker, just to sort of feel how the track was. And it was a good lap, actually. It was only 0.4 of a second shy of Sergio Perez, which I thought was a very decent result there. And then in the end, we finished a second shy with the two Ferraris locking out the front row in Q1 with Sergio Perez doing a strong job. Sainz, though, a long way back, nearly getting knocked out in Q1. Pierre Gasly, though, does get knocked out in Q1. But at the end of the day, it's not a surprise, because Gasly's rubbish, and I'm going to keep saying that for the rest of the series to trigger the Gasly fans. Anyway, Q2 now coming up, and we first of all take Parabolica in a slightly different line, very deep on there, and we come across the start-finish line. Bit awkward because it actually gave us the fastest time, which is inconvenient, but eventually we would set the 8th fastest time, so it didn't really make too much of a difference because the Ferraris, Perez, and everyone else just came along. Verstappen out in Q2, so too is my teammate Lando Norris. We, though, make it into Q3. Now, in towards Q3 we go, and Charles Leclerc sets the benchmark of 1:17.9 for us to try and beat. Our first lap time, though, is a 1:18.6, which leaves us 7 tenths down on Charles Leclerc's personal best time. And now, as you can see here, Vettel now sets a new fastest lap, followed by Charles Leclerc with a 1:17.7, and we are 2 tenths up currently on my personal best lap, so it doesn't look like we're going, oh, that's not too good. We locked up then into the last corner, and that really has cost us some time there. Lost about 1/10 of a second through that specific phase, and we crossed the start-finish line, and I believe we are going to qualify in P6, so actually, that's not a bad place to be starting, and obviously, the middle sector for me was where I lost pretty much all my time. But for the Ferraris, though, it's a front row lockout for them today. Charles Leclerc on pole position ahead of Vettel. We were only 6 tenths down. But if you have a look at the gap there, Bottas was only 2 tenths off. Even if I nailed the final corner, still wouldn't have got P2 anyway. So, yeah. What do you want, Claire?
It's been a great qualifying session for you. Are you going to carry that momentum into the race?
I mean, that's the plan.
How does a car perform in these conditions? Is it an advantage or a disadvantage?
I get really triggered with these questions because it's like, no, you know, you just, some intermediates, stick them on.
Great. Well, that's everything.
So there we go. Yeah, that is what Claire's got to say on that front, which is great because she annoys me. But as you can see, then in terms of the rivalry, we're actually beating both Lando and also Charles Leclerc, which is good for us. But stacking up now on the resource points as we are obviously trying to continue our development path. You can see we've got 950 resource points now. Pretty much max reputation with all of the teams, which is great. And as you can see now, that is us done and dusted on that front. Emma, basically just saying that I'm the best. Let's get into the race.
The Italians love their cars and they love their racing. And of course, they love it here at Monza. Home race for Ferrari, of course, who've had 18 wins here since 1950. But you know, there's not been so much luck for the locals in the cockpit recently. The last Italian driver to win this race was back in 1966. So what now? I think it's time to make some more history here today. With top speeds up to 215 miles per hour and an average lap speed of around 155 miles per hour, Monza's reputation as one of the fastest circuits in the sport is well earned. We have 11 corners on this 3.6-mile track, with the best overtaking chance coming into the heavy braking zone of the Turn 1 chicane. Alongside me once again for coverage of today's race, it's none other than the great Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about Thomas. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
It's been a really solid year so far. There have been some incredible standout performances, but what's really impressed me has been the consistency. With this kind of form, I'm expecting another great race today.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position. Sergio Perez lines up alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Bottas, Thomas, Devon Butler and Magnussen, Grosjean, Stroll, Verstappen and Charles Leclerc. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Vettel, Norris, Pierre Gasly and Hülkenberg, Raikkonen, Albon, Antonio Giovinazzi and Carlos Sainz. Weber and George Russell ends our grid lineup, and with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Right, so we're here on the grid now to start the Italian Grand Prix, and as you can see, we've been promoted a couple of places actually. I think it's up to P4 now on the grid, and that's because I believe, if I'm right in saying, both Ferraris have got grid penalties, I think, or it might just be both Ferraris got grid penalties, so we've got 5 red lights then here for the Italian Grand Prix, and it's lights out. We go here to start the Italian Grand Prix. A good initial getaway there from ourselves actually, but the Haskar of I think it's Kevin Magnussen gets a great launch off that start line, and now we've got Devon Bullsack that gets a better run than us in towards the chicane. We've locked up, we've been turned into slightly by Valtteri Bottas, but we hold on to 4th place in this race. Sergio Perez though gets a great start from 2nd on the grid, and he goes up into the lead now and overtakes the Mercedes Lewis Hamilton. Meanwhile for us, so we've got Devon all over the back of us now. We need to try and defend against him. As you can see there, I think it's Valtteri Bottas is trying to find a way past Sergio Perez. No, it's Hamilton, sorry, trying to find his way through. We comfortably navigate the first few corners though, but it is Hamilton and Bottas giving chase to the Renault. Meanwhile, myself and Bullsack Boy already building a small advantage there as both the Haskars go side by side into the Lesmos there. And as we now go through the second Lesmo, making our charge down towards the Ascari, we can see here that we're doing our best to keep up with the 2 Mercs, as we've got the pace in a straight line, but we just need to wait for the DRS zone to really make full effect of that. However, though, one of the Ferrari cars there has got a great momentum through the Lesmo. I think he might have actually made the overtake. No, he's not quite. He's got past 1, but both Ferraris already getting off to good starts and starting to give chase to these lot. Meanwhile, though, we're onto the back of Valtteri Bottas, very close actually to the Mercedes car, but in towards Parabolica here, and this is where we lose a little bit of time now. And as you can see, we complete the first lap though, but we are in range of the top 4, which is great for us. You can see here, Perez leads the Grand Prix. We're just a little bit further back from him. Bottas has got a slightly better slipstream, but unfortunately, onto lap 2 of the Grand Prix, you can see now that the Mercedes pair and also Sergio Perez are now pulling away in this Grand Prix as we go horribly wrong there through Ascari, and that's going to allow Devon now to get onto the back of me here, and you can see now I've got onto the straight here. Here comes Devon now. We haven't seen him for quite some time actually in my career, but we now go up the inside in towards the Parabolica. We go a little bit too hot though on the brakes in towards Parabolica. Devon gets the switch back on us, and now onto the straight. It is literally just a drag race now, but in fact actually Devon got such a great exit there, it didn't even make a difference. But now we're going to slipstream Devon and go towards the inside line in towards the first corner, and this should be ours for the taking now as we go down the inside here of Devon. And we make the move stick here, and that is us comfortably back up again. Devon actually cuts the corner there, surprisingly enough. Although I think on the first lap I cut Ascari, so I can't really say much. But as you can see, unfortunately for us though, the top 3 are off into the distance, and I'm not really catching them at this stage of the race. So now it's just about being patient and just letting myself settle in. Another lock up there into the Parabolica, as I'm really struggling in that corner to get it right. I was struggling all weekend to get Parabolica right. To be honest, I'm so used to braking so late into the Parabolica. It was about getting used to getting in early, but I've got to be careful though, because Devon now is on the back of me here, and here he comes now over towards the outside line. He's going to take here as we try and defend against him. We've got, I believe it's Sebastian Vettel that is closing up onto the back of us. Or it might actually be Charles Leclerc. No, it's Charles Leclerc that's closing up onto the back of us, so we need to be careful of Charles Leclerc and also the 2 Haskars. If Charles Leclerc brings the Haskars with him, and gets onto the back of us, then we are in a real problem for this race. I'm not too bothered about constantly fighting Devon, but if we fight so hard that Charles gets onto the back of us, then we might have an issue. But Devon does get the move done, but we managed to brake a little bit later than Devon in towards the Ascari, and that is us back up again wide on the exit though, which is always amazing to do. But that's not going to be the rest of the fight just yet, because Devon is going to again get some slipstream, and this is just the phase of it. However though, onto lap 8 of the Grand Prix now, and Charles Leclerc eventually passed Devon Bullsack, what he did in the process of that is they were too busy scrapping for quite some time that actually allowed Devon to get out of slipstream. And you can already see that now that Devon's not in my slipstream or DRS, you can see how much quicker that I am in this stage of the race. And this, however, shows how quick Charles Leclerc is with slipstream and DRS. He goes for it now as we go towards the inside line here. We actually do defend the position, mainly because when I was on the brakes going through the corner, I was just much better. And you can see on the exit as well, I was much faster than Charles Leclerc. So from my perspective, I was always going to defend that position just because of how quick I was in that stage. Hamilton, though, has dropped to P3 in this Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc, though, now finally gets the job done, and at this stage, not going to make the not going to go up the inside of Charles Leclerc into the Ascari because it's not worth it. As Charles on his fight back drive, of course, from starting a little bit further down due to penalties, he was the pole sitter. But on to lap 10 of the Grand Prix now, and I'm going to come in for my first stop. I think I stayed out another lap, just again to extend the stint of these tyres ever so slightly. I was going to consider going in a lap earlier, but I can't remember, I hope Lando Norris doesn't come in because obviously I'd stayed out a lap longer. That's exactly what happened the last time. I'm trying to see. Nope, Norris goes on through, so it's fine. We're not going to have an issue with Lando Norris being in the way. What we are going to have an issue, though, is having to wait for both Devon and Charles to go through, which is a bit of a pain. But still, it's a 2-second stop, and we're back out. I think we'll be behind the Red Bull and the Toro Rosso. Yes, we're behind them, but we have got some good clean air to work with. So I'm not too upset about that stop. It's actually a good pit stop there. And the Mercedes car is also just up the road, but obviously, like I said, I don't believe my fight is with them today, so that's what we're going to focus on. And when I mean it wasn't my fight, it really wasn't my fight. But what is a little bit of a shock here is we've got one of the Mercedes cars slowing down, and I can tell you that is Valtteri Bottas on lap 26 of the Italian Grand Prix. The championship leader is out of the Italian Grand Prix. That's probably the biggest shock of this entire career mode episode. Bottas retires from the session, and we now inherit P4. And yeah, that second stint, I'm not going to lie to you, was the most boring second stint I've ever had in a race. I was just going around and around and around. I didn't really do anything. I was just, yeah, in my own little zone. P4.
It was a magnificent race and a drive right out of the top draw to take the win for Renault. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
I'd say it was down once again to good, consistent driving, nailing the corners, working to the track conditions and perfecting the team's strategies. They got all of these things right today and the results speak for themselves.
Here come today's winning drivers, and what a race it was. This is a team that knows success very well in F1, and they're just itching for even more. Congratulations to the Renault team for their excellent win today.
So there we are then. You can see here that Sergio Perez takes the first win for Renault in this career mode. So congratulations to Sergio Perez. But like I was saying though, my race was boring as hell. Gasly though, finishing down in P19. What an absolute god he is. But yeah, really bad race for the second stint in terms of action anyway. In the championship though, the gap now drops to just 29 points between myself, Bottas and Hamilton. All because Bottas retired from the race. If Bottas stayed in the Grand Prix, he would have been a lot further clear in the championship. Mercedes, though, still lead the way. They're still miles clear.
Amazing performance out there. I'm sure you're pretty happy with that. Some excellent overtaking moves from your former teammate today.
I don't care about my former teammate.
You and Devon weren't far apart by the end of the race. How evenly matched are you?
The bugger stuck in my slipstream, but as soon as he was out of it, he was nowhere.
It's safe to say you're smashing everyone's expectations, isn't it?
Yeah, props.
You had a close battle today, didn't you?
Yeah, he breezed past me.
Appreciate your time.
Okay, so there we are then. As you can see now, we are claiming all of our little bits and bobs from the rivalry. Charles Leclerc now takes the lead in the driving rivalry, which I kind of expected considering how quick that car just naturally is in general. Everything else, so you can see we're gathering up the resource points. But anyway, guys, if you have enjoyed the episode, obviously feel free to drop it a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new around here as well. We do get our team goal as well, so critically, extra resource points coming our way, which is brilliant. And it was to score 20 points in the Drivers' Championship. If you didn't see the last episode, well, we won the last episode, so we beat that in the first round. But yeah, that is going to be it for myself today. I'm not sure if I make an upgrade on the car. I got 1,800 resource points, so I might go ahead and try and shove something on. And I'm going to go for a front downforce upgrade, try and get that on the car. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Take care all. Peace.